Hello,
Cool.
hello, hello, everyone. Hey, thank you for hitting that play button for another episode of the Hetty Coleman podcast, where I sit down with fabulous people to have going conversations. Three reasons why I do that is I want you to learn about these people and from these people. I want you to be inspired and I want you to connect because I believe that when we connect, we start finding things that we enjoy that are similar to one another. We It grows into community, and I believe that community wins. And today, ladies and gentlemen, today I have the one and only, originally from Tennessee, right?
Correct. Correct.
Yes, originally from
The great
Tennessee,
state of Tennessee. The great
the
state of
great
Tennessee.
state of
Yes.
a very beautiful state. I've
Let's be
lived in
clear.
Tennessee myself. To be clear, Nashville, one of the most diverse city, I think,
Yeah, I
with the
agree.
HBCUs there,
Yeah.
with
Fisk and
Vanderbilt,
TSU.
country, the music, the diversity of music.
Come
This
on now.
guy's from that place.
That's
My
right.
man, Chauncey Julius. What's up, Chauncey? How you
Hey,
living?
what's up, man? Thanks for having me, Eddie, bro. This is awesome. This has been a long time coming, bro.
Man, no, thank you for taking time to do this. And Chauncey, one of the things that Chauncey has helped me with in my life over the last, I would say, 12 months is this. Whenever I schedule something, I gotta be clear if it's Central Time, Eastern
Hey,
Time, Pacific Time.
come on, man. East Coast shouty out here, man. We out here on that East Coast.
I'm in Oklahoma, he's in Virginia. So whenever I
Yeah.
scheduled our first meeting a while back, he's a part of a Go In Circle. I just said
Yeah.
11 a.m. He was like, "Man, is that Eastern Time or Central Time?"
We need to know, man.
Yeah,
You enlarge your territory is
yeah,
being enlarged, bro. Like
for
you,
sure. I
you
was like,
international heady now, bro.
it made me feel good about myself. I was like,
Yeah,
man, I
man.
ain't
You
never had to think
nationwide
about
out
that.
here.
Yeah, man. So, man, hey, how did we first meet? I know we both worked for Shiloh at some point, not
Yeah,
simultaneously,
Shiloh
but is
Camp.
that where did we originally, was that where we originally met?
Yeah, I think that was the first time we met, man. In Oklahoma
Okay.
City, I was applying for the job there. I swung through. I think I was overdressed, man. I had this whole suit on with the hard
Yeah.
bottoms. I was sliding all
Yeah.
over the gravel. Yeah, man. And you were the program director there, outreach
Yes.
coordinator there at the time. And man, I was interviewing for that position because you was getting ready to transition. And so, yeah, I think that's the first
Yeah.
time we met back in what, 2012? I think it
2012,
was.
man. That was a
Yeah, man.
long time ago.
Yeah,
It's
man.
good. It's a
Yeah.
good time. And then my wife did your family photos.
Man, bro, I'm still getting value out of those photos, man. Even though I'm a little, I don't put on a little bit of pounds, but man, I guess, man, your wife, bro, she killed those photos, man. She did a superb job, bro. We still get compliments off of those photos. It was cold in Guthrie that
Oh,
day,
it was
boy. Oh my
cold. It was
goodness, it was
cold.
cold that day.
Yeah, but it was fun. Every time I go out with her, sometimes when she does those, and they're always fun because she only does them for people like that she's connected to for the most part in love
Mm-hmm.
and, that we
Right.
have friendships with. And so it
Oh,
always makes it fun, when you get
yeah,
to go out and take photos of with people that I mean, we love everybody, but you have that different
yeah,
kind of love for. So that
absolutely.
was fun, man. Hey, Chauncey, tell us, what would people say you were like as a kid? So if I saw one of your uncles or aunties or friends from whenever you were younger, what would
Mm.
they say? Who would they say you were? Describe you as a child.
Mm. Man, that's a good question, Hattie. I guess I would, if I was describing myself, I would probably say I was curious in that I was full of jokes and I was humorous, right? Everybody in
Yeah.
the hood is a comedian, and so I grew up in under resourced community, right? And so, man, everybody there is a comedian. But I think if as a child, if people would probably say that for the most part that I was happy, that I was a
Okay.
happy child. I had no worries before I attended school. My happiest memories involved playing with my friends, man. That was the first
Yeah.
Facebook, going outside and just ripping and running, playing football, playing sandlot football, playing basketball, playing hide and seek, man. Just had a happy childhood. A lot of people would probably look at us and say that my family, we were low income, right? And and there was definitely a season of that. But man, me and my brothers, we didn't know it, and so man, we were a happy kid, man. We were happy kids. I was a happy child. As a younger school age boy, I would say that. And through my teen years, they probably say that I was unhappy. And so as a child, happy, as a teenager, I was unhappy. And so by my freshman year of high school, my grades were failing because I was running the streets and I was doing what I didn't have any business doing, man. I was selling drugs, bro. And man, I was at a low point. And then I had a major life change, man. I gave my life to Christ. And then
was this in high school?
This was in high school, man. This was in the summer after my 9th grade year. I finished my 9th grade year with a half a credit in home ec because that's back when they had home economics, remember? And I only had a half a credit in there because the girls did my homework. I thought I was a ladies' man. I thought I was it, right? But my relationship with my father was horrible. And because he had a drug addiction and that just tore us apart. And so, man, I was at a low, but I would think that people would say, especially adults who would probably speak into my life back during those teenage years, they would probably say that I was unhappy, bro. I was unhappy.
So after that freshman year, you come to know Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, right? And so did that change the next 3 years for you?
Man, like nobody's business. And so what would have been my sophomore year, but it was really my 9th grade year all over again. Man, I just kind of went into hiding, if you will, man. I just went underground and just focused on my grades. I was always a decent student. I had the know-how, but I had just checked out my 9th grade year emotionally. And so things began to turn around for me, man. What sparked it, I had a football coach, man, that came to me, man, and Coach Bullock. And he said, he saw me in gym class in 9th grade. He said, "You need to play football." I said, "Coach, my grades are horrible. There's no way that I'm going to make it on that field." He said, "If you come to study hall, we'll get your grades right, but you just need to try out." And so I did that. I wasn't eligible that next year, but I worked hard in the classroom, man. I went to summer school every summer. This is back when they ain't have, they got some online stuff now where you get caught up in about a couple hours, right? It took me 3 years to get caught up so I could graduate with my class. And so I bust my hump, man, worked hard. I eventually, by my junior year, I made it onto the football team, man. And then eventually, man, everything turned around. And by my senior year, man, I graduated on time with a full-ride academic scholarship to Tennessee Tech University, bro. And so I was selected. I was put on the student body. And so student council, I also had an opportunity to go to Boys State. I don't know if many of your audience, if they're familiar with the Boys State program. It's a program sponsored by the American Legion where high school juniors learn how government is ran on a state, county, and local level. And so I went there. They hold elections. And so I had the audacity, little ghetto kid from Columbia, Tennessee, to run for governor there. And I end up winning, bro. I end up winning. Actually, NPR, This American Life, they did a story on me, bro. And they kind of
get out of here.
Yeah, man. They came out when I was living in Kansas. They flew out, man. And my homegirl, Sarah, she came out, did a story on me and everything, bro. Shout out to Robin Munger. Robin Munger, kind of one who kind of threw me the assist and set that all up. Man, love her. And, man, they did a story on this time. And, man, I went to, I won Boys State. Got selected to go to Boys Nation, met the then sitting president, President Bill Clinton. You might know him, bro. And so I was in the White House shaking hands with Bill Clinton. My life just really turned around. Yeah, bro. So I went from selling drugs, horrible relationship with my father, running the streets, half a credit in 9th grade, to, having a major spiritual life change and start walking with Christ. And where, man, I just had the audacity to hope, the audacity to dream, bro. Yeah. And things turned around, bro. Yeah.
So just real quick, you mentioned your father a couple of times. Was there a transition where that got healthier during high school, or what did that look like? Or is that later in life?
Man, that was late. That would be later in life, bro. Man, our relationship throughout high school just grew more and more toxic. And as he, his addiction just spiraled out of control. it wouldn't be till after I joined the military, that, our relationship began to start on this upward trend. Yeah, absolutely.
Got you. So you go to college, and then at some point you go into the military. How long after college you going into the military? What was that transition like?
It's probably 2 years after college, but at the start of my junior year, man. And so, man, just college wasn't working out for me, man. I struggled in college, bro. I lacked discipline. I could laugh about it now, but it was struggle then, bro. I thought I was cut. I wouldn't say I was cut out. I would say I thought I was ready. I thought I was mature enough for college, but college is probably about 5% intellect, 5% smarts. And then it's about 95% grit and discipline, bro.
Discipline,
And I lacked that grit and discipline. I lacked it, and it showed. Man, I was there for the partying. I was there for the girls. I was just distracted during college. That's if I could describe my college experience, it would just be in one word: I was distracted. And so, but during that time, I met a girl, and we may talk about that later, but I met a girl that would eventually become my wife. And that kind of motivated me to, I wanted a family, but I was broke. And so I made the call to, withdraw. I was going through some issues with my father that was kind of coming to a head. And I got into a fist fight with my dad, bro, when I was home one weekend from school. And my mother just challenged me. She said, Chauncey, you always wanted to see the world. You had thoughts of going into the military. Do that. Get away from here. Don't get sucked in with what's going on here at home. And so I took her up on that. That day, I left the house, went to the recruiting office. I went to the Navy. The Air Force. I went to the Air Force first. They said, it's going to be about 3 months. I said, that's too long. I went right next door to the Army recruiter. And he said, we can have you boots on ground in basic training in 10 days. I said, sign me up. Sign me up. And that was it, bro. Yeah.
Yeah. So, your father and mother were still together.
Yeah, they were still together
during these challenging times.
Yeah, they were still together, but man, their relationship was it wasn't the best. It was on the brink of ending, and so they eventually got a divorce after like 25 plus years. I think they was together for probably about 27 years, bro. And then in 2002, they decided to call it, to go their separate ways and get a divorce. But it ended, amicably. And actually my mother, she'll tell you to this day that they was actually still living together for probably about 2 weeks after they signed the divorce papers. And they talk every day to this day. They talk every day on the phone, man. They're good friends. They've known each other since they were like 18. And so, man, all is well. My father, he's sober now. He's got a relationship with Christ, man. He's doing well now, man. Yeah.
That's really good. So you talk about this transition going into the military. You get signed up, boots on the ground in 10 days.
Yeah.
What was that like? What was military life like? Because some of the motivation was a young lady. Talk to us about that.
Hey, yeah. And so, the motivation was this young lady, right? So I was like, man, and then getting some college money too, right? Because I was like, man, I think I done threw away my little full ride academic that I had. And so I need some more college money so I can finish up school. And so, the Army is shopping MGI bill. Yeah. So let me see what this Army life is about. And so I get there, and then probably about 2 weeks in, I'm like, man, ain't no college money worth this. They got me running like 10 miles. Man, I'm out in the middle of nowhere in Missouri,
this
bro.
Is not it.
But this is hard. They got me doing push-ups, bro. I'm like, this is not it. This is not the play. But then something clicked in me. I said, okay, if it's not for the college money, then what is it for then? Because that was my only plan, right? That was my plan A through Z. It had to work, right? And so I knew I didn't want to go back to my mama's house, right? And so I was like, let this be for discipline, right?
Yeah.
Let me learn some discipline out of this. Let me learn, as they call it in here, how to be hoard and have some intestinal fortitude, how to show up, how not to quit. Because, I I wasn't known for finishing things, you know, and so I wanted to learn how to have some finishing power, and the Army taught me that and some, bro. And so, man, it wasn't long before, you know, I was identified by some leadership in the Army, and I began getting promoted and put into positions of authority and positions of leadership. And man, I flourished under that environment, bro. Just the structure, the discipline, the camaraderie. Man, I don't have anything negative to say about my military experience, man. It was favorable, bro. It was awesome, man. The people, I met people that I thought I wouldn't meet in 1,000 years, bro. Some personalities that were awesome. And then just serving, being able to see the world and serve country. I've been to Germany, I've been to Spain, I've been to Ireland, I've been all over, bro, through the military. I did 3 combat tours in Iraq. Yeah, bro. It's just an awesome time, man. I look back on it with great memories, bro.
Any impact from that? I know that sometimes some people who have served PSD kind of things, like, is there any of those kind of things? And if so, what has that been like? Or maybe speak to how that discipline has carried over to some of the other things beyond military for you.
And so I am on disability. I do get a check for the rest of my life for PTSD, and, you know, it pays the mortgage. And so, however, I think what shows up most from that season is just the leadership that I gained. You know, just, you know, I went in, even going back to the Boys State period. You know, I tried to go and fly low under the radar and not be seen, just take it as a vacation from high school. However, you know, I was identified by leadership there. And so I tried to do the same thing in basic training and through my Army career, but it just wouldn't work. And so what I learned from the military is to step up. Right. I learned that, okay, a lot of times there's a void, a leadership void, and someone needs to fill that space. And so I guess the military kind of developed this sense of just being comfortable with stepping up and being the front man and the point man when there's that leadership void, whether it's at work, whether it's at home, whether it's wherever, you know, and just provide that leadership and be okay with leading. You know, because the Army, you know, they're going to equip you. They're going to make sure you're fully trained before you go into any environment. And so I took that with me wherever I go. And, you know, it really taught me to be comfortable with leading.
Yeah. You know, that reminds me of a book I recently read by Brene Brown called Daring to Lead.
Yeah.
And the way that she defines leadership is taking responsibility. Like a leader is somebody who's willing to take responsibility. However, my man John Maxwell says leadership is influence, right? And so 2 different ways. But your example right there reminds me more of the Brene Brown. Leadership is about, are you willing to have the courage to take the responsibility? And you're saying sometimes when nobody's around willing to take that responsibility, you've learned to do that because of your experience in the military and how they kind of grow you as a leader. Right? They
Absolutely.
Show you how to take responsibility of things, which is great, especially when you're out there in battle. If you don't have anybody willing to take responsibility,
we got a real problem,
trouble, right?
For real, you got a real problem on your hands, bro. For real. Yeah.
And I mean, it kind of, and not to jump into some of the stuff that we're going to talk about, because I think one of the things that I think you have a heart for and passion for is fathers, right?
Absolutely.
And I think when I see what you're doing right now, it's really saying, hey, dads, let's take responsibility. Let's be people who show up and lead well. But we won't jump into that. I just want to make sure we come back to your wife, right?
Okay.
We got to talk. Let's talk. We got to at least talk about what did that look like? When did you get down on one knee and then talk about your family just a little bit? You got to do it, right?
Hey, I got to do it, man. So, man, Carrie Ella Julius, man. She is probably the best thing that ever happened to me, bro. I don't think I would have matured at the level that I've matured. I don't think I would have grown up. I don't think I would have embraced responsibilities without being in this incubator called marriage, right? That just cultivates and nurtures growth. And so, man, I met Carrie in 1999, bro. Right around Y2K when all that was going on, right? In the summer after my freshman year in college. And so, like I said, the best thing that ever happened to me, we met in a little old town called Golden, Missouri, at this Christian sports camp where Stephen Stephen Moore was the director. He's the founding director of this camp. And so Kids Across America, KAA, So if you know, you know, right? And so all your KAAers out there, what up? You know how we get down there. And so we were both camp counselors there, man. And I didn't like her at first, bro. We were in the Bible studies. Like when you come during work week, they have you like before the kids arrive and before we kick off the summer, where they break us up into Bible study groups. And she was in mine, or I was in hers, however you want to look at it. And she was just, she from Liberty, she went to Liberty. She got all the Bible answers, right? She answered all the questions, know everything there is about the New Testament. And so I'm like, man, she just need to be quiet, bro. Let somebody else answer, man. I had some answers. And so I didn't really like her. I was like, I thought she was a know-it-all, but I had her all wrong, man. So after that, we get ready to go to lunch, and she comes up to me, and I'm like, man, what she want? And so as soon as she opened up her mouth, she asked me what my name. She was like, you're Chauncey, right? I was like, yeah. She was like, I really enjoyed your input in the Bible study. As soon as she opened her mouth and spoke, bro, like every ill feeling that I had about her just evaporated. For real. Done. And I was just like, bro, I was done, bro. She floored me, bro. Like her voice was so melodic, bro. And I was just like, man, bro, I got to get to know her. She was in a relationship. And so, we served together. But what I liked about our relationship was, man, we used to dive. We dove deep into the word, man. And we always came together over God's word, just opening it up and just kind of unpacking it. And so I had it in for her, man. I wanted to pursue a relationship with her. I would have to wait like a year later, though, when we returned to camp to actually, take that next step and say, hey, listen.
Now, was she done with her boyfriend by then?
Yeah, man, because, we were emailing, emailing was practically new back then. So we emailing through the school year and, we're talking on the phone. This is back during the phone card era, right? And so I'm going
yeah.
I'm going through phone card after phone card after phone card.
Then like the money.
The lady would come on and say, you got a minute left. I was like, hey, kid, let me run to the gas station real quick, get another phone card. And man, we used to just talk about, our dreams for the future and what we wanted to be in life. And it just seems like our values just really meshed well. We shared a lot of the same values. We shared a lot of the same hopes and dreams. And man, I just loved her, bro. And when we returned to camp, it was known, I think around April, she emailed me and said that she wasn't in a relationship anymore. So I was like, licking my lips, You
said it was on and popping.
It was on and popping, bro. And
so when did y'all get married?
We got married. We wouldn't get married until we became, start courting, I would say in the year 2000. We wouldn't get married until 2004, bro. Because I was broke, man. I had to go make some money in the military, bro. So that was that motivation to, go into the Couldn't be living in my auntie's basement, bro. Like, so.
No, man, you couldn't do it. But hey, if you had to, you would. If it would have came down to it.
Hey, man, our love was that strong, bro.
I've seen it happen.
Hey, absolutely. Absolutely.
My pastor says that after he and his wife got married, they went and lived in the back of some people's house in a RV and was having to go into these people's house. Wow. Some other college kids, they got married while they were in college. No, they were Cal Alpha directors.
Okay.
And so they were going into these college students' house, taking showers, and then living in this RV
tough, bro.
Like it was
they
real
were hard
love.
to paint.
They said they gotta make it happen. So, but yeah, man. So that's awesome. So, children.
Yeah, man. And so we got 2 children, man, Kennedy and Gibson. And man, bro, man, these children, they challenged me to be a better man. They challenged me to be a better husband. Man, I love these kids to death. And so my oldest, Kennedy, she's 12. She's my twin, bro. High energy, extrovert, super creative, man. I mean, she's running around here. She was outside making videos with the tripod just a few minutes ago, man. So she's a video. I think we need to get her in a film school or film camp here in a hurry, man. But she wants to be an architect,
right?
And man, she TikTok, bro. We just gave her the blessing to be a TikToker, and she's on Instagram as well, man. So at Call Me Kennedy, if y'all want to follow her, man. She got some really cool videos. Cool personality, just a cool kid. She wants to be an architect. She's really smart, really bright. Man, she's just a cool kid, man. Love her. My youngest, Gibson. I'm glad I had a girl before I had a boy, because if I would have had a boy, I think I would have ruined him, because, Kennedy taught me to be gentle, taught me to be patient, it's a girl, and I grew up all boys. There's all boys in the house with me. And so, Kennedy I got an older brother and a younger brother. And so I'm the middle child. And so my mom had to be hard with us. My dad was an ex-Marine, a Marine, because once a Marine, always a Marine. So,
always a Marine.
And so it was just a whole bunch of masculine energy in our house, man. My mom was outnumbered. And so, yeah, bro. And so my son, man, we actually gave him the name Gibson, which is my wife's maiden name. So her father never had any biological sons. And so we wanted to honor him and honor that family, her family, with just naming my son Gibson. And so he's a smart kid, man. Man, this kid, he'll quote you every scientific and animal fact there is out there. Did you know that the cheetah runs 60 miles an hour? And I'm like, bro, that okay. And so anytime we have like a question about science or animals, let's ask Gibson. He'll know. And
he's the guy.
He's our fact guy. He's our fact checker. So, if you're watching Jeopardy or whatever, and they say something about some animals, you may want to double check and do some fact checking with Gibson, man. But he's a baller, man. He loves the hoop, bro. He loves football. We're gonna try him in some football probably this fall. And man, he's a Minecraft aficionado. He's just intelligent, man. And I'm convinced that I'm going to be working with him one day, or I'm going to be probably paying my taxes to him one day, because he's going to be president or something, man. He's just that smart, bro. And I know I'm his father. It may come across biased, but this guy, he's really special.
Ain't nothing wrong with it. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, man. Love my kids, man. They really challenged me to be the best that I could be, the best dad that I could be, the best husband, because, I got to show them, I got to love their mother, and they challenge me. They hold me accountable in that area, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So talking about that, knowing that this is the dad who you are, husband, let's talk Pop Talk. Okay. Can you tell us where that came from, and just, I'm kind of jumping around here, but just talk to me about Pop Talk. Then I want to come back to some goals and stuff that you.
So we're gonna talk about Pop Talk. We're gonna talk about Pop Talk.
I mean, it's all over. I said, let me just get to it.
It's right here somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Yeah. Like Oklahoma City kind of comes into play when you talk about Pop Talk, because that's where it was birthed, right? And so, man, Stephanie and I, we went and had a meeting with Dr. John Sowers. And, at the time he was the president over the mentoring project. And, every time he would do these rallies in Oklahoma City at Life Church and some of the other churches in the area, he was just talking about fatherlessness, and it just awakened and stirred something inside of me when he would talk about his fatherless story. And then he wrote a book, Fatherless Generation, that I read. I plowed through it again. And this issue of fatherlessness just really resonated with me. And so it really motivated me to go into that space, right? And so that was part of the decision that motivated my reasoning behind, transitioning from Shiloh camp and relocating to Tennessee to start this journey in this area, right? Which involves raising awareness along this topic, because you could go a whole 24-hour news cycle and not hear anything about fatherlessness. And so, started out there, but, I didn't really get much traction in Tennessee. And then, I worked with the Boys and Girls Club while I was there. And then I eventually transitioned to Virginia. And it was during COVID where I was like, man, I think it's time to, really go, hard charging in this area. And so, man, I just have a passion for this topic of eradicating fatherlessness. I'm going through the 33 series right now. I'm on volume 4, and 33 series talks about, their definition for manhood is rejecting passivity, accepting responsibility, leading courageously. And that last one is investing eternally, right? Throwing yourself in a direction, throwing yourself at a cause that's way bigger than you, right? And so that involves something like alleviating hunger, right? Fighting homelessness, eradicating poverty. And with me, it's my cause is eradicating fatherlessness. I believe that no child should have to grow up without a dad. Statistics say when children grow up without their father, they're more likely to drop out of high school. They're more likely to become a teen parent. They're more likely to commit suicide. They're more likely to become incarcerated. They're more likely to live as an adult in poverty. And the list goes on. And so I believe that this issue of fatherlessness is the foundation of a lot of our social ills, right? A lot of the social issues stem from this issue of fatherlessness. And I currently work, my 9 to 5 is working at a juvenile detention center in the city of Richmond, Virginia. And I would go as far as to say 98% of the youth that has come through my doors in this 2.5-year period have been fatherless. Their father is either incarcerated or they never knew their dad. Or if they know him, they have a poor relationship with him and they don't live under the same roof as him. They probably don't live in the same city as him. And so I just seen the impacts firsthand of fatherlessness. And I believe that my greatest passion and my greatest talent intersects in serving in this area. And so it's something that's near and dear to me. And so it was put on my heart to just start a podcast and start this discussion and start the first phase of 4 phases of eradicating fatherlessness, which is raising awareness. That's 1. And then 2, equipping dads to be the best dads that they could be.
When you say raising awareness, what do you mean? Awareness to the issue itself of fatherlessness? Awareness to like, what does that look like when you think about making people aware?
That's good. That's a good question. And so when I talk about raising awareness, I mean, you could go an entire 24-hour news. Okay, let's take a step back. The statistics. Let's roll the statistics out. News statistics that come down from the Department of Labor and the Labor Bureau, and they talk about how there's 18 million. It used to be 25 million, but we're actually going in the right direction now. There's 18 million children that's going to go to bed tonight without in a father absent home. They're going to be tucked in tonight by somebody other than dad. Right. And so, I'm like, man, if 18 million children had COVID, or if 18 million children had AIDS in America, or if 18 million children had some crazy disease, right? We would hear about it on the news. It would be all over the news. Yeah. However, we could go an entire 24-hour news cycle and not hear anything about COVID. Hear anything about fatherlessness. Right. And so I believe that, and then when you bring up the topic, a lot of people, it's news to them. Right. They're like, oh, really? And so yet it's all around. And so I just feel that we need to, kind of do what John Sowers did. We need to go into the pulpits. We need to flood YouTube. We need to flood the social media sites with this message of, hey, every kid needs a dad. If not their biological father, they need a surrogate dad, right? They need a masculine guy who could step up and fill that void, right? They need a mentor, right? Someone who could kind of help navigate them through their childhood and through their teenage years. And so I feel like we just need to shout out and make much of the disparities that come along with fatherlessness and shout it loud from the mountaintops. We need to contact and write our legislators, right? And let them know that, listen, we need to do something about the fatherless condition in America. And that's what raising awareness looks like. And so, getting the word out.
That's good. That's good. And so You said the second thing is what? So bringing awareness, and then what was the second
Bringing
thing?
awareness. And then the second thing is equipping dads to be the best dads they can be. And so providing some type of training, right? And so the curriculum that I use is 24/7 Dads, which is comes from the National Center for Fathering, based in Kansas City, Kansas. I think it's Kansas City, Kansas, not the Missouri side. And so equipping them with a 13-week curriculum. They meet every Saturday, and just whether it's virtually or in person, and equipping them to be the best dads they can be to facilitate healthy relationships with their children. And so what I found out that a lot of dads, when they found out that they're about to become dad, or even, years into their fathering journey, man, they're lost, man. And one thing that I believe that fatherhood is not a solo sport, it's a team sport. And so providing a community, providing an environment where, they have a team of dads where they can go at it together. So if they have any issues, they could go to one another. And so my mentor, right? Good friend of ours, Stephen Moore, he was telling me one day, we was at lunch one time, and he said, Chauncey, every marriage needs about 150 years of shade covering their marriage, right? And so, you may have a couple over here that's been married for 25 years, another couple over here that's been married for 10, another couple for 30, you may be blessed enough to have a couple that's been married for 50 plus years, and they're all covering their wisdom is covering your marriage, right? Helping you prevent and make some of the mistakes that they've made. I believe the same is true for fatherhood. I think we need about 150 years of covering our fatherhood, right? Covering our fathering journey, right? Dads who've been dads for 20, 30, 15, 10 years, and having this community and this team of fathers to help you go at fatherhood together. Because we could get, the old adage. What's the old adage? If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with the team. I think we need a team of dads, in a place where we could come. And my hope is that Pop Talk will provide that. We will provide a community of dads. And so that's one, equipping dads to be the best dads they can be. And then the third part is mentoring the fatherless, right? Because there's still a fatherless generation out there that needs dads. And so finding mentors, finding surrogate dads to step up and help them navigate through their fatherhood journey. And then the last piece of it is legislative reform, contacting City Hall, contacting Congress, letting them know that, listen, we need to get some laws on the books that strengthen families and not tear them apart. And so, yeah.
What would be one of those examples of a law like that? Like when you say, let's create opportunities for families to stay together than breaking them apart. Is there something that comes to mind immediately? Like, for example, this?
Yeah, I think there needs to be some welfare reform. There was a welfare reform that came out in the mid-90s that in that legislation and in that policy, they said that families are stronger with two-parent homes, right? Yeah. And so shout out to all the single moms out there holding it down, right? The single parent dads is out there that's holding it down. However, we have a lot of homes that are father absent, right? And if welfare reform and that policy states that children do better in two-parent homes, when we go to offer assistance to a lot of our lower income families, we're forcing, mothers to choose between whether dad is in the home or outside the home, and whether or not you're going to receive this assistance is dependent on whether, dad is in the home or not. And so to the point where they're doing home checks as well. They're looking for size 12 Jordans, sitting up under the couch, and if that's the case, they're going to pull your funding. And so I think that needs to change. Families shouldn't have to choose whether or not, and that's a fine line, right? However, families shouldn't have to choose between dad being under the same roof or being from underneath the roof, just because they're going to get some funding or not. And so I feel like that's one of the policies that need to change. I don't have all the answers. And so my deal is to raise awareness and bring some people to the table so that we can come to an answer and come to a decision together that's going to benefit the child, right?
Got you. So one of the things we go in, when I think about go in, it's a two-part thing. One is defining what that win is. And you kind of have defined what that is for Pop Talk. And then the next thing is kind of what are those right things to be consistent in order to achieve the win, and eradicating poverty. Fatherlessness. You kind of talked about. What are some basic things that you can just kind of talk about that you're showing up each day or once a week or whatever to help you accomplish a podcast? You also have YouTube, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Have a YouTube channel.
And so
right now it's Chauncey
YouTube
Julius.
channel.
I'm trying to figure out how to change it to Pop Talk, but me and Google will have a discussion about that. We're gonna talk about that.
Do it in YouTube, right?
Right. You could do it in YouTube, but somehow I'm having some problem. I'm gonna have to talk to you offline about that because you know it's through Google because Google owns YouTube, and so it's through your Gmail account. And so whatever the name is on your Gmail account, somehow is tagging that onto my YouTube channel. So I'm trying to figure out how to fix it.
You can change it. Yeah. You should be able to change that in the YouTube creator studio.
All right. I'm gonna have to go in there.
Yeah, sure. Because there's a lot of people out there wanting podcasts. There's a lot of people out there wanting YouTube channels. Now, for you and I, we're doers. We like, hey, we just gonna go do it. Like, I don't know.
We just gonna find out, man.
People be coming to me oftentimes like I'm an expert. I'm like, man, I really don't know. I just started doing it, and it just so happened that it looked like I might know what I'm talking about, right? But what are some things that you've learned to be consistent in order to really move yourself forward towards this eradicating fatherlessness?
Man, it's just first off, showing up at home first, right? And the things that matter most. And one thing I learned from Kerry Casey, he's the author of Championship Father, and he's the former president of the National Center for Fathering as well. One of the things that he said, man, show up in the fundamentals, right? Tuck your kid in at bed every night. Be present. Put your cell phone down during dinner time. Have dinner time at the table. Showing up in the things that matter consistently, right? Not taking any days off. My son, he knows now when it's time for bed at 8:30, he says, Dad, I'm gonna see you up in the room, right? You're gonna see me up in the room. We're gonna read a bedtime story. We're gonna talk about what happened in this day. It's my time to connect. And so showing up in the things that matter and the basic things, but because if I didn't show up there but showed up for my podcast, then there's a disconnect somewhere, right? And I'm talking about fatherhood, and so as it pertains to pushing this eradicating fatherlessness deal, it's showing up with the social media posts, and that's a challenge when life is getting crazy. And here at the Team Julius house, we just had a crazy 2 weeks, man. And so my consistency kind of fell off there, but finding tools to help me stay on course, right? And so there's some calendars out there, some social media calendars that I use to help me, that kind of does some of the thinking for me. All I have to do is just personalize it and make it Pop Talks on. And so showing up in social media, that's probably been the biggest challenge for me. And then also creating content, showing up, dedicating time and ordering my day, ordering my schedule to cut out and slice out some time for me to just be creative, right? And just dream and come up with questions and send emails to potential interview guests and things of that nature, but just showing up and giving a little bit of time to this dream, and not only dream, but just this passion that I have. And so it's not going to work itself, but yeah, man, just showing up day in, day out, and then setting some goals as well. By this time, I want to have 100 subscribers on my YouTube channel. By this time, I want to have 1,000 followers on Instagram. By this time, I want to have X amount of views on this video. By this time, I want to connect with X amount of fathers, and so throwing out some SMART goals. Yeah, man. And so that's where I'm at. That's where I am. I'm at in the process right now. Yeah.
That's good, man. Well, it's super exciting. Talk about how you talking about building this community of fathers. Where are you bringing them? How can you touch them on a regular basis? Do you have a Facebook group yet, or what does that look like for you?
Nah, man, I need to do the Facebook group, man. I've been doing, some homework on it, man. And, it's definitely something I want to explore. I'm still at this stage, Hetty, where I'm like, who the heck am I? Right? I'm just going to keep it 1,000. Like, I'm like, man, who the heck am I, man? Like, bro, I ain't supposed to be here, bro. Man, I'm from Evanston, Cincinnati, man. I'm from Warner Hills, Madisonville, Brown. I'm from the south side of Columbia, Tennessee, man. I feel like I'm still not supposed to be here. So it's like this imposter syndrome that I'm going back and forth with. But then there's another part of me is like, why not me? And so, as it pertains to reaching out to certain people, authors and just friends and people, personalities and influencers on social media, it's just like, man, are they going to? But I don't leave that to me. I try not to make this decision on whether or not a person is going to say yes or no to an interview or what have you. I just reach out, and so the way that I've reached out is through Facebook. I am active on Facebook. I'm active on Instagram, on those two platforms, and LinkedIn as well. I'm active on LinkedIn. And so on those three social media platforms, I'm locked in. And so just a caveat, when I started Pop Talk as a podcast, I started out talking about pop culture. I was still punking out on my calling, right? And so I was just like, because I feel like this is my calling, this space of, equipping dads and, stepping up and filling the fatherless void. I feel like that's my calling. And so, but I punked out. I was like, man, I'm going to talk about pop culture and how, my views on pop culture and bring my values into that space, right? And then I got convicted, bro. I got convicted. And I'm not trying to get too churchy, but the Holy Spirit kind of just convicted me and said, man, you need to start talking about fatherlessness. And so I had a conversation with my co-host, and man, it went well. I talked about, man, where God is calling me and things of that nature. And then as soon as I switched the format, it's like, man, folks start sliding into my DM and said, man, let's talk about it. Can I be on your show? All types of people, bro. So my challenge now is, and my wife is really helping me with this, is just to schedule everything, right? And we're scheduling, talks out. We're way out to August right now, bro. And so my thing is just, being a good steward of the gifts that God has given me, and just, giving Pop Talk the attention that it deserves, and, bringing that discipline that I learned years ago into play. And so, yeah, man, showing up, that's the big thing, bro. Like we're trying to challenge dads to show up and not be absent and not go AWOL. But that has to start with me first. And so, man, there's a lot of discipline. I'm hoping that this will become my main thing, bro. Where I could transition from my daily job and do this full time, bro.
Bro, well, I mean, I think you're heading in the right direction. I think I think you're building a solid plan. Giving yourself a presence on social media these days is one of the key things, but then also utilizing that. The great thing about a podcast, I think, is like, even if you don't have a big following, people still are more likely willing to connect with you.
Absolutely.
To do a sit down interview of some sort, which is great. And so you can reach out to just about anybody, be like, hey, you want to be on my podcast?
Absolutely.
There's a chance of them saying yes, versus not having that piece to be able to connect you with them. You can't do that on any other, platform for the most part.
Right.
So that's cool, man. I mean, I think you just keep doing what you're doing. I think the next thing is a Facebook group or something like a Mighty Networks, but that costs money.
Right.
I would prefer Mighty Networks over
Facebook
groups, because Facebook still has control over your group. They still
taking notes right now.
It. It's
you said Mighty Works?
Mighty Network.
Mighty Networks. Okay. I'm already hearing
Mighty Networks. Right. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah. Yeah. So that gives you an opportunity to build your community and bring people into something that's yours and not Facebook, and they don't have control over that. But I think that would be the next thing, man.
Yeah.
Just talking
I love what I'm seeing from you, bro. Like your website, the whole 9, the format. I'm loving that. And then how you're doing your workshops and even your scheduling, the whole thing with going about scheduling this whole meeting, man. This has been it's been seamless. And I love to get with you offline and just
let's
pick your brain.
Let's talk about it, man.
Yeah.
But just keep showing up, bro. Like it say, show up, Dad, back there.
Hey,
man, just keep showing up and do it as often as you can. And I definitely understand sometimes things happen and you miss those 2 weeks. But I'm a big fan in fathers, and I think this is a real cause that you have here, man. And so I just wanted to make sure that my couple of people out there that I may connect you with,
This is
I
a
want to
big
show.
look, bro. And even the clubhouse chats, bro. The clubhouse
Oh yeah,
chats have been, bro, the people that are on there speaking. Listen, people, if y'all haven't tuned in to Hetty's clubhouse chats, man, those things are official, like a ref with a whistle, man, for real. Some of the people that are on there, bro, my pen and pad be on fire, boy. Just write down. I'm like, man, that was good. I'm still in that. They're gonna hear that again on my YouTube channel. Like, yeah, there's some good stuff coming out on there. Yeah.
But man, that's another thought, man. Just bringing dads on to talk about being fathers on Clubhouse.
Yeah.
You know, just inviting a few people and say, hey, let's jump in Clubhouse and let's have a conversation around being a father. You know, because you talk about that shade. Just my thoughts listening to you talking about this shade, having 150 years of shade over you.
Yeah,
that's a great place for fathers to start helping find their shade. Like you could be that person who's connecting fathers to have that shade over them.
I love that.
You're doing those kind of things. So
I like that. Yeah. And see, when I first started out with the podcast, I started out on this app called the Stereo app. It's like live podcasting. And where they drop you in and you have a conversation with random people, right? Or you can schedule talks. And so I feel like I picked the wrong app, right? I went the Stereo app way, but I should have went the Clubhouse way. And I feel some type of way about Clubhouse. And it's like, I'm late to the party. Like, oh man. But yeah, man, I see a lot of value in that app, man. And I definitely want to get on that platform. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, who are you using now for and the reason I talk about this stuff, because this is what people listen in on. Because everybody's trying to start something. Like you've started something, even though it may not be the biggest thing. You've started something, and adding value to people is talking about these early days.
Absolutely.
And they take these resources. So, like, what app are you using for your podcast?
Man, by the way, I'm gonna just say that your cap is the MVP right now, bro. Like I love that you have the perfect head for the little road skull cap.
Big old head. I got a big old head.
I'm random that way. But I'm currently using Anchor, and that just shoots it out. You know, Anchor. Yeah. And so it shoots it out to all the platforms and what have you, and it's easy. However, I'm using to edit and do all my sound, man. I'm keeping it basic. I'm using iMovie. I'm actually using iMovie. I'm looking to and then for my videos, my YouTube videos, I'm still using iMovie, but I'm about to switch over to Premiere here. I got I have an Adobe account. I went to school when I went to school for graphic design, and so man. And so I got a graphic design background. And so, but I'm looking to switch over to Premiere. But yeah, right now I'm using Anchor and iMovie. Yeah.
Hey, don't do it unless you just really feel like iMovie does the job.
Hey, it does. And I know
because it's just money. It's just money. I had to learn that. I started getting all this stuff. I'm like, really? I'm doing all the same stuff that I could do with a lot of the free stuff and still providing quality content, as long as it sounds good.
Absolutely.
And those kind of things. But yeah, Premiere's legit though. Like I use Final Cut Pro. And the reason that I use Final Cut Pro over iMovie is just because like even with this, like this is gonna it's recording on Zoom. It'll send me several different files. And so I can sync them all in Final Cut Pro.
Oh wow.
Then I'll be able to show different, like us two on the screen together or just you talking.
Got you. See, so that's what I want to get as well, where I could do the side by side with my interviews and what have you. Because right now it's just me on the videos. However, when I go to the interviews, I want it to be a side by side deal. Throw a little logo in between us and some graphics and lower thirds and what have you. And that's why I want to switch over to Premiere, because it allows you to do that, bring in After Effects and all of that good stuff. And so
for sure,
baby
you want to
steps,
get into that. Yeah, you may have to pay a little bit, but other than that, man, that iMovie, man, I'll be doing stuff just on my phone now.
Absolutely, yeah. iMovie is working for me.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. Man, well, tell people how they can find you.
Bro, you can find me. We should have did this at the beginning, but we'll go from there. But yeah, man, they can find me on Instagram. I'm managing two accounts on Instagram. First one is Team Julius 3000. That's Team Julius 3000 JULIUS 3000, and then the other one is Pop _Talk Podcast. That's at Pop _talk podcast. And then I'm on, LinkedIn, Chauncey Julius. I'm on Facebook, Chauncey Julius. And, that's how you can get with me. And also my YouTube channel, just type in, it's kind of crazy, but type in fatherless or fatherhood, Chauncey Julius, and then my videos will pop up. Okay.
Nice. Man, keep grinding, bro.
Man, Hetty, man, this has been real, man. Thank you so much for having me, man. I appreciate it. It's truly been an honor, bro.
Hey, man, thank you for your time. Thank you for the work that you're doing.
Man.
One of my hearts is continue to show up for young men and catching them early and hopefully give them a few skills that will allow for them to navigate through life with a little bit more success. And so I get
Absolutely.
it. I grew up without a father, even though I know my father now and have a great relationship, but all those things matter. So thank you, man. And bro, we'll do it again soon. Okay.
Let's do it, man. Let's make it happen,
okay.
Bro. I love to have you on Pop Talk, man, and hear your story, bro.
Hey, man, hit me up. I'm not a very good interviewee, right? But let's do it.
Interviewee. Is that I-E?
Interviewee.
Like interviewee?
Yeah, whatever.
All right, bro.
Hey, as always, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for hitting that play button for another episode of the Hetty Coleman Podcast.
Hey.
And go win.
Go win.